problème de connexion? Pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.
Hot mix mixing.
Animal Talk Show on Tempo Afrique TV. So this week we're going to bring you a lot of updates for the last couple of weeks of what has been going on in Africa, including the economy and also the political world as well. So recently there was a report of an attack that took place in Somalia, in Mogadishu. That's one of the capitals of Somalia as well. So apparently this hotel is one of the most favorable spot that majority of the government officials, they come and meet. And the Al-Shabaab militians have been reported that they've been targeting for this in the last 15 years. So it seems like the mission has just been recently been accomplished in the last few days. This deadliest attack committed by the Al-Qaeda linked group since the Somalia's new president took office in May. The Somalis were patiently waiting for their lost ones and hoping to have faith for them to be alive, or at least the report of who is missing. So one of the health minister sent out a report of about 21 have died and passed away from this incident, and about 117 people have been wounded. And this report was sent out on Sunday afternoon, and the incident taking place between Friday evening and Saturday night. So today's Sunday, so that is just a few days ago. And several civilians that are also trapped were rescued during and after the 30-hour security agencies and focus on getting out the citizens. So they managed to save more than 106 people, including children and women. The Majority General Abdi Hassan said, a Somali police commissioner on Sunday, the hotel suffered heavy damages during the gunfire between the Somali forces and the terrorists. Police also had to check the building as they feared some explosions could be hidden there. So this is one of the common dangerous cases that takes on in Somalia, with torn buildings and destructions and explosions as well. As one of the young men spoke out on it and say in his word to the reporter, what happened here is a disaster. It is affecting us on two levels. As some of us know, people who have died and are facing property destruction. The hotel siege last about 32 hours. The security forces and Al-Shabaab fought on top of us. As you can see, there are many properties down here. Such incidents has repetitive a young man that has always seen attacks happening in Mogadishu. Now on to next. What is happening in Senegal? So there was a primary election that was held about 3 weeks ago. The Senegalese voted to elect the country's deputy, and many fear President Macky Sall may seek a third term from this election. These election stands as a decisive test for the opposition parties trying to tackle the ruling party's influence ahead of the president election in 2024. El-Hadji, who spoke out, mentioned, it is the destiny of our people that is at stake today with these legislation elections. It is extraordinary also. It is very important. People must vote. So about 7 million voters were called to the election to elect the 165 deputies in their National Assembly, saying we want to have a dynamic assembly. an assembly that represents and assists the people as well. The Senegalese people really needs this. This has been said by Madame Games, quieting to vote in the capital as well. So the political atmosphere is tense in the Western African countries, even more since the list of the opposition, Asmani Sanko, was rejected for this vote. During that protest in June, about 3 people who died in it as well. So here are the latest updates on what they have so far from the election. Senegal President Macky Sall's ruling coalition said on Monday it has won 30 of the country's 46 administrative departments, giving it a slim majority per parliament. Following Sunday's legislative election, former Minister Aminata Touré announced the partial results on a national television from the party's headquarters early on Monday after the Sunday's vote. She did not say how many of the 165 preliminary seats the party won. Under Senegal's hybrid electoral system, 97 candidates who win a majority of votes in administrative department are elected, while 53 from national lists are elected using proportional representation, and 15 are elected by Senegalese living outside of the country. With Congo, so Congo had a second parliamentary election as well. In the Republic of Congo, an opposition group in the country, which is known as Congo Brazzaville, had denounced the results of the first round as a fraudulent. So this Sunday, this was about 2 weeks ago or so, voters held a second round voting of legislative elections to choose 50 candidates in 25 constituencies. The Senegalese Labour Party of President Denis Sassou won the first round of voting on July 10, taking 105 of the 151 seats in the National Assembly. It still has 14 candidates in a runoff vote. They are followed by the Pan-African Union for Social Democracy, the main opposition force, which has four deputies, and 4 of its candidates are in the runoff. So as of now, the dates for the release of the results are still to be announced. So they are still pending on a lot of those results as well. Now, one of the countries you don't really hear a lot about definitely has a lot of its own crisis as well. And some of these are very horrific as you probably don't hear as often. So about a week ago, there was an attack, a convoy attack in Mayom County in South Sudan. This is one of the tribe county, as South Sudan is divided by counties in the northern part of South Sudan. The fierce fighting has erupted in the morning in a remote village in the Unity State of Mayom County after gunmen, state officials said, could be identified, attacked an 8-vehicle convoy heading to Mayom town. A senior county official with direct knowledge said the incident happened at towards local village of Bien Niam Payom when an unidentified armed men attacked the army convoy coming from the direction of Ajak Kech. So as one of the officials said to the reporter, the incident happened just minutes after 8 a.m. local time. And gunmen that were believed are just armed civilians that decided to attack the convoy of the South Sudan SSDF, compressing 8 vehicles, and the fighting is said to be still an ongoing battle. The convoy was coming from Ajakech in Warab State and was heading to Mayom County. So it was attacked in that village, which belongs to Biaz Pom. And some of these names that I mentioned, these are some of the political leaders, and some are commissioners, commanders of some of these leading forces. So General Bright claims responsibility. He is one of the general that was contacted by the Sudan Post. They reached out to the Sudan Post, and the leader of the rebel South Sudanese People's Movement and army said their forces are behind on the attack, to reach out for more help in gaining back to against the armed civilians that are coming in. The rebel leader alleged that the convoy was carrying military equipment for reinforcement to attack the position, a claim Sudan Post cannot independently verify at the moment. Now, as General Bright continued to warn commercial flight against using Mayom Air Force as well, risk putting their life at risk. All commercial flights that are being hired by the regime to transport guns, ammunition, are hereby warned not to fight in the Mayom area. As the fight continues to go on, as it now, several attempts of South Sudan Post tried to reach out to Juba, and which was an unsuccess outreach. The incident comes a week after force of loyal to General Bright attacked Mayom town and assassinated the country commissioner Shoal Galwag, the elder brother of President Affairs Advisor Toot Galwag. So a lot of this corruption took on because of revenge. So in the courtesy of Sudan Post, about a few days ago, this incident led to some horrific vengeance of setting a commissioner on fire alive in the return of the same act to the previous commissioner they also set on fire as well. And that is still a huge developing story of what is happening in South Sudan, and how the leaders are willing to be able to work together in order to compromise, negotiate, or at least to avoid some of the horrific acts of humanity as well. Now going forward in Rwanda, so Rwanda got creative and decided to use drone for breeding. This is to breed pigs as well, in a way to add more on the food supply chain for Rwanda. Now, some of these success stories that came out of it, many farmers have started to use it because it is easier to send a drone for a lot of their breedings in order to breed their pigs and to be able to grow I guess I would say their offsprings, yes, to have more pigs in the farm and more food to eat on the table. So they're using the technology very well, and this has, one of the farmers has been doing this for 11 years, and out of his 145 pigs, about 82 were born thanks to the drone sent of deliveries. He said the message could also reduce the risk of transmissional disease, such as African swine fever. And the smallholder, a lot of these smallholder pay between $6.50 and up to $10 US to inseminate a female pig, and the drone transport is paid for by the government as well. So it's definitely working out for Rwanda in a way to bypass some of the food crises that are going on. Now, lastly, in the entertainment news, I would like to give you guys a report on one of the largest TikToker that went viral, actually. And it's been a while now, but we haven't talked much about it. And his name is Khaby Lame. He's from Senegal. So as many of you probably know him, he is a star-born TikTok who has one of the most followers on TikToks in pretty much above everybody. And if any of you has probably watched it, he doesn't speak. A lot of it is action and his personality and character. And that really brought in so many engagement, and many millions of people have loved it across the world. So just recently, he had became an Italian citizen. So the country of Italy decided to give him a citizenship. And with him being a 22-year-old, early on into his success and his journey, these are some of the things he had to say as well. He said, it's been very different because I have always lived in the slums. But there, in our having nothing, we are happy. We are glad we played in the courtyard. Even though we had nothing anyways, yes, it is another reality. It's a whole new world to which I still need to get used to, but I am gradually adapting. And a little bit about his background. He lived in a small town outside of Turin in Italy, town of Chivasso. And during the COVID, when COVID hit, he had lost his job and decided to turn to social media, only to become a superstar, which is one of those rare, unexpected cases that just takes you to a whole different life, different world. And Lame, like many children to migrant parents in Italy, had to wait until he was an adult to become a citizen. And that is one of the normal process in Italy as well. So with him now in his new journey in life, he is now officially an Italian citizen. And we wish him all the best in his success. He said it is a new chapter in life of the public figure, holding about 148.5 million followers on TikTok. So Lame now works with big brands and gets sponsors and endorsements contracts wherever he's go. So he's definitely a big superstar in the whole world, all the way from Senegal. So that is it. Have a wonderful night.
C'est encore Yves Kenao, c'est toujours Yves Kenao qui revient. Cette fois-ci, pour vous dire que Tempo Afrique TV vous offre plus de 4000 chaînes de télévision. Les chaînes européennes, les chaînes américaines, les chaînes asiatiques, les chaînes africaines. À un prix imbattable. À un prix imbattable. Tenez-vous bien. $185 pour 12 mois, inclus le box. Alors, où est-ce que vous pouvez trouver mieux que ça si ce n'est pas sur Tempo Afrique TV? Mesdames, Messieurs, appelez seulement le 612 804 0295 et vous serez servi. Vous serez agréablement surpris de voir plus de 4000 chaînes de télévision rouler sur votre écran comme ça et vous choisissez laquelle vous voulez. Alors mesdames, n'hésitez pas. N'hésitez surtout pas et ne vous faites pas compter. Prenez votre téléphone, prenez le tout de suite et appelez le 612, le 804, le 02 95. Nous sommes là, ici à Tempo TV, pour rendre votre vie simple et agréable. Alors, saisissez l'occasion. $185 pour toute une année, pour 12 mois, inclus le box. Quoi de mieux que ça?
Du nouveau à Minneapolis, Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agent de voyage Tempo